on time because, hey, we're back with another episode of Business Learning Lab live. And today, Meredith, we are talking about learning to trust your business intuition.
Yes.
And this topic got on our agenda because we've had some experiences lately that are indicative of a lot of other experiences we've had when talking to all sorts of business owners that get themselves in a state of what I would say is decision paralysis
Mm-hmm.
because they haven't learned to trust their business intuition, and it's a bad state to be in when you're a business owner, because really, as a business owner, all it is decision making all day long, right? So
Exactly.
we can't afford to be paralyzed, and have that self doubt that has us in that state of paralysis. So
Well, I think the where we see it being the most dangerous outcome of that moment is when someone turns over all of their own control mentally to someone else, oftentimes a business coach. And this is not an indictment on every business coach, but there is a type of business coach that that follows a business model wherein they sort of put themselves as the intuition or as the instinct for that person they're coaching. So it gets to the point where the business owner who is already perhaps, insecure or feeling defeated, that can, it's just not going the way you want it to. You start being like, can I even do this? Should I even do this? I don't know what to do. You go to seek help, which is a good move when you're not sure, when you're feeling, but you get in a situation where certain coaches can take advantage of that. And it gets to the point where you lose the muscle that you need to trust yourself, to take risks, and you just turn it all over to someone else, someone outside of your business who has their own objectives in running their business. And I think that's really the issue where we tend to get particularly riled up is when we see that happening.
yeah, I think, and you're right. I think these moments of self doubt that come when things might not be going as well in your business. Maybe you didn't hit your numbers one month, or you suddenly lost a couple of clients and your revenue took a hard hit. All of a sudden, you question everything. What am I doing wrong? I'm not a business owner. I mean, I am a business owner, but I have no business being a business owner. I don't have an MBA. I don't know what I'm doing. Somebody else must know the answers. And sometimes it's coaches, sometimes it's friends, sometimes it's family, sometimes you're just casting a wide net trying to get everyone's opinion on what you should do in your business. And in fact, we recently had a client at MFEA at Move Forward, and some of the feedback we got from their team lead was that they were casting that net and they were asking everybody what they should do, and what was happening is she was doing nothing. She wasn't moving forward. She was losing momentum. She was doubting the process of delegating to a support team, and ultimately our relationship imploded with this client because of her inability to trust her own business instincts, and her instinct to hire us. I know this sounds self-serving, but I think her instinct to hire us was really good because she did have great momentum in her business. It was growing, but her time was diminishing, and that was stressing her out and causing her to make some missteps in her business that she wouldn't have made if her time had not been so strapped. So I thought her instinct to get help was really good, but it was after enlisting help that she started then asking friends, family, countrymen, what should I do? And she got a lot of different answers, and she just kind of spiraled after that. And I was like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, how many times have I seen this? I've seen this happen over and over and over again. Yeah, it was like last year, I think, Spirit, we had a potential client. And again, same situation. She knew she needed help, came to us. We had a discovery call, had a great conversation. A lot of times during these discovery calls, we end up, giving, business advice just because it makes sense. We're having a conversation about business. And it was clearly time for her to delegate and get some help. But she couldn't hire us until she talked to her business coach.
Yeah.
And I thought, that's not how it's supposed to work, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like a good business coach builds your confidence, builds your ability to recognize, respect, and listen to your intuition, and then use it and leverage it to grow your business, because it really can be your best friend.
Yeah, exactly. And I think what it is, it's these coaching relationships almost become more like conservatorships than
Oh,
coaching relationships, right? Like Free
oh,
Britney. We could say that for a lot of business people we know, where they like cannot make a decision without running it through their business coach, even a small one, even,
mhm.
a relatively minor one. And when they do, or if they do get empowered, and we've been charged a few times with empowering some of our business friends to start making decisions without their business coaches, and it's had negative repercussions. The coaches, you even had a coach come to you directly and said, "Stop telling my client to make decisions without me." So that's just and that's a whole other thing, right? We can go on and on about this, but the point being that as a business owner, you have to be careful, and you have to, it's fine to seek advice, it's fine to seek coaching, it's fine to seek additional skills, or if you feel like you need support in a certain area, like all that, of course, is excellent. But where's the line between coaching, guidance, support, and conservatorship? And once you've entered into like this conservatorship, you you have to trust your instincts. You have to practice, and you have to do things and have things go wrong and have things go right and have things be neutral, and learn, sort of build up that instinct muscle so you get better and better at it, and have
Yeah.
people around you to help debate. Like I'm going right now, going through a lot of decision making
Yes, you
about
are.
Eat and Press, about my one of my companies. And I'm taking a lot of advice, but I'm making the decision.
Yeah.
And, I found myself in moments in conversations with you, Jen, with other people, where I'm like, yes, yes, okay, I see what you're saying. I agree with you. I'm doing that. And then the next time we talk, I'm like, no, I decided not to do that because, I thought more about it and realized like my gut is telling me I'm not going to be happy if I do that.
Yeah.
So I've moved this way. I'm exploring this, and I'm taking your advice and so on. And I'm combining it all, and then checking in with myself,
Hmm.
checking my gut, and deciding what I want to do to move forward.
Yeah, that's a great anecdote to share right now, because you even had a dream. And you were telling me this dream because it was so vivid. And I'm not going to retell the dream, because I know like retelling dreams is like retelling TV shows. Like, it's not that entertaining. But I was into it because I know you so well, and of course we can share each other's vivid dreams.
Right.
But in this vivid dream, you're like, I have no idea what it means. And I was like, no, I know exactly what it means. Like, and it had to do with, decisions. I'm like, I'm part of this dream, and you were in the dream, you were kicking me. I was not me literally, but I was like showing up as something else. And you were kicking me and somebody else that was showing up as something else. And I was like, it's because we've all given you advice, and you need to make your own decision. And it wasn't unsolicited advice for sure, but I totally get how, okay, you've gotten your inputs, and now you need to like quiet. You need us to be quiet so you can hone in and listen to your gut and move on your instincts. And I so respect that. So yeah, I totally get that. It's so perfect for this discussion that happened,
Yeah.
just now. And we can say like trust your instincts, right? That's so easy to say, but doing it is another thing. So
Mhm.
one thing that I've learned to rely on the past few years in terms of like tuning into my instincts, like a crutch, if you will,
Mhm.
but a very good one, is really leaning on your core values. The fact that we defined our core values and did some really deep work a few years ago on what our core values were and how they what that meant in running our business was such important work, because now if either of us or both of us are ever struggling with a business decision, and we feel like our instincts aren't like leading us where we want them to lead, then we just fall back on our core values, which really, feed into our instincts. And it always leads to the right decision, the one that feels right in the end, the one that was the right decision all along. So I encourage you, if you haven't, if you're a business owner and you haven't thought deeply about your core values, it, please do so, because it will make all of those decisions and relying on your gut instinct so much easier when
Yes.
you already have those spelled out, and then you can just, they're your guiding posts moving forward.
Yes. The other strategy, and one I've been employing a lot with Eat and Press, is just really thinking about the parts I like and the parts I don't, and imagining a world where I don't have Eat and Press, and imagining a world where I have it in one form, in another
Mhm.
form, in another form, and seeing in like emotionally, like in my core, how I react to different visions. And that has told me a lot about myself, and that's been sort of the core where I'm like, I can't go this way because no scenario that go at the end of this path feels good to me and like
Right.
feels okay. And like, it doesn't mean that there isn't going to be some hard decisions, or it doesn't mean that like sometimes the right choice isn't a hard choice.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between a hard choice or making a compromise or a sacrifice versus just like your whole visceral response being no, no, this would
Yeah.
just be terrible. I would feel awful at the end of this. Um, and so checking in on that, sometimes I use a strategy of just free writing, like kind of journaling.
I love
I'll
that.
say like, if, the thing I love about is, and if that were gone, what would I do? How would I feel? And we did an exercise like that together too. It was like, if I didn't have the impress, could I have those needs met in a different way?
Mhm.
Sometimes the answer is yes, sometimes it's no. But that all of these are, again, exercises that help you build that habit and that muscle of trusting your gut, being able to trust you, having instincts that are trustworthy.
Yeah, I I love that. It's kind of like the relief test. Will I feel relief if I make this decision, or will I feel tension and
Or
stress?
grief,
Yeah,
or
or grief or heaviness. So I love that, checking in with yourself. Another tool, it just went into my head and out of my head. I had another tool. I was like, oh, this is a good one. So let me think. What was it? Shoot. Keep talking, Meredith. It's going to
okay,
come
I
to
will
me.
keep talking.
Yeah.
So well, and the other thing too is like there's the emotional. So okay, here's what my gut is telling me. I need to keep the company running. I need to stay in this world. However, I can't stay in it the way I am right now.
Yeah.
So
Right.
what? And that is where other people can really come in handy. And that's where I've gotten some of the best guidance. And I was just talking to a coach the other day, and she gave me a homework assignment. And she was not, she's not telling me what to do, but she said, here are some things. Here's a little homework to get you. I was a little stuck. I was spinning a little
Uh-huh.
bit. She's like, here's a homework assignment to get you unstuck. And here's like a journal prompt. Like, if I don't have movement by X date on on this effort that I'm going to try, then I will.
Oh, I love that accountability. And really that's like, oh, that's like so much of the power in having a business coach, is that person who will hold you accountable. And I think that whole process really strengthens that intuition muscle. So I remembered what I was going to say. And this is hardest part of building your intuition, is that you have to fail.
Yes.
You have to make decisions. You have to make bad decisions. I've made plenty of them. That's the whole reason we started Business Learning Lab, is because Meredith and I have made terrible business decisions in our entrepreneurial journey. But now we are seasoned enough to realize how much we've learned along the way by virtue of making bad decisions. We've learned the most. We have added to our business acumen because our failures were our schooling, our that what
Mhm.
that taught us so much about business. And it also makes you a little fearless. And I think that is so empowering as a woman business owner, when you get to that point where you're like, I'm going to make a decision. It might not be good, but I know that if I make a bad decision, I have the capability to learn and recover and come out better for it. And so that fearlessness is really when your intuition becomes its strongest,
Mhm.
because it's really fear and self-doubt that shutters that intuition. And when you can remove it, when the worst happens, which is failure for a lot of us, that fear of failure, when you allow the worst to happen, all of this, and you didn't die, nothing really that bad happens. Well, then you become unstoppable.
Yes. And I think also the other piece of that, when we have made bad decisions, when we have ended up on the other side of something where we're like, I thought that was going to go different.
Yeah, that was bad. That was not good.
There is also something that's a little bit empowering about saying, like, well, we made the choice. Like, we didn't do this by accident.
Right.
We calculated our odds. We like made a very conscious decision to go in this route,
Yeah.
and it didn't work. But this didn't happen to us. Like, we're not victims of this.
Right.
We're agents of this, and that's okay.
Excellent point.
And we can separate, our ego from our person, wherever you want to say it. So we could be like, okay, yeah, that was not great, but here's where we went wrong. We just immediately learn from it. We're
Yes.
like, okay, I see. You know what? This is where the math didn't math, and that's how we got here. Okay,
Yeah.
noted. And I will say, I don't know of a time in any significant way where we've made the same mistake twice, right? Like,
No, I don't think
learn.
so. Yeah, I think that, again, you learn, you grow, you move forward, you become better for it. I have an anecdote that I'd like to share because I think it's appropriate, because sometimes I think business owners, particularly first time business owners that are in, the early stages of their business, they really have the most self-doubt probably during that time. But even this anecdote just proves that even the most seasoned, successful business owners don't always get it right. And I was reminded of this when I saw an old Shark Tank clip. And the guy who invented what is now the Ring doorbell, it was called something else at the time, he came on the Shark Tank to try to get a deal for this Ring doorbell called something else at the time. And the sharks were like, no deal. They didn't get it. They thought it was silly. Well, he was now on the Shark Tank as a shark. And of course, he is a multi-billionaire now. They were wrong. All of those seasoned business owners who are millionaires and billionaires on that panel did not see the value in this amazing product. So just use that in terms of giving yourself some confidence that you don't have to be the most seasoned, experienced business owner to be able to make decisions for your business. And that is where your gut comes into play.
Exactly. And if you really have built that muscle and you can trust you can trust your instincts, even if the worst case scenario happens, you will be able to dig out of it and you will be able to move on because you know that you can do it. And that was the belief that led us move forward. We were terrified. We're scared of our brains. And
so scared.
So the stakes were so high. And sometimes I think back and I was like, how did we do that?
I don't know how we did that either. It was so scary. I don't think I would have done it if I didn't have a business partner.
Absolutely.
Go back and listen to our business partner episode on Business Learning Lab. If you are thinking about getting a business partner, I totally recommend it.
Yes. We had this back and forth of, I trust us. Like, this could go really wrong, but I trust us to figure a way out of it, to figure out how to fix it, to take the worst case scenario and make it manageable somehow. And it might not be the best case scenario, but like, we're not just going to be like left. And if it went terribly wrong, we weren't just going to sit in the ashes and stare at each other and be like, whoops, like we would figure it out. And so because we have independently and together built our instinct, and we trust it, and we have trained ourselves to trust it and been rewarded by it.
Yeah. And there's nothing like having that confidence. And I remember that moment because that moment, those were your words, I trust us. And you said that, and you had to say that because I was the one spiraling with, doubts and wondering if we were just in the process of making like a fatal business decision. And it was a moment. Okay. It was a moment, but it was real. And so, but as soon as you said that, I trust us, I was like, well, hell yeah, I trust us too. What are we doing? We're not, so it's not our first rodeo. We are definitely going to be able to make this work. We did. And now we can, be proud of the company we have built since we purchased that MFVA. So proud of it. So yeah, I would love to hear, and I'm sure Meredith would too, about any sort of time that you listened to your intuition and it really worked out for your business. If you're struggling with, you know, tuning into your intuition, we would love to hear about that too. Maybe we can help you get back in touch with it. And, you know, we just love hearing business stories, good,
Yeah.
bad, and ugly, because we've been there. We have been around the block, the business block, a couple of times. Um, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, until next time, Meredith.
Yes.
All right. Bye.
Bye.